Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second installment of the MWSBE Webinar Series. I am your host, Kiana Brown, along with MWSBE Deputy Director, Daryl Jones. And we are so happy to have you join us as we learn how going digital can save your small business. Before I turn things over to Daryl, I just want to encourage everyone that we have set time, aside at the end of the webinar for question and answers following our presentation. So if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to share that in the chat box if you're watching from Zoom, or in the comments if you're watching from Facebook Live. And now I will pass things over to Daryl to introduce our speaker today. Daryl? I think you may still be on mute, Daryl. I think we may be having some difficulties with Daryl. Oh.
Hello, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Using a hotspot that goes in and out, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
You're totally fine. Go ahead, Daryl.
Okay.
Uh-oh. You there, Daryl?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and do the introduction of our speaker?
Oh, certainly. I'm delighted to do so. Thank you, Kiana, and thank you for hosting us on this portal that we might be able to continue what is our now third year in providing our MWSBE academies to inform our business community about the ways that they can build capacity. I'm delighted today that we are now using one of our own certified MBEs, Jabari Allen, the president and founder of Business Automation Pros. During this time of recovery, when there have been a great number of opportunities for local businesses to engage and find incentives and stimulus money to help to mitigate business closures, one of the things that we have found from a number of businesses that they were, well, unfortunately unprepared to meet the information requirements required for a number of recovery grant and loan opportunities. And so we thought that this would be a fantastic way for us to engage with one of our own successful certified MBEs, Jabari Allen and Business Automation Pros, but then at the same time, be able to help our businesses be armed with important information on how they can best manage information, their business information, their financial information, and other things that are necessary so that businesses can be at their best in terms of organizing their information and can be ready to be able to be responsive, particularly to recovery monies that may be available for our local economy. So I'm delighted to introduce Jabari Allen. He is a fantastic business owner. He founded this business, I'm aware of, nearly 5 years ago. And to his credit, during that time, a number of our local businesses and other businesses statewide and abroad have been helped by Business Automation Pros, helping businesses to work at their best potential. So without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce him, Mr. Jabari Allen, founder and president of Business Automation Pros.
Thank you so much, Kiana, and thank you again, Daryl, for having me. I really appreciate it, and I am excited for the opportunity to partner with you guys in order to help these businesses understand the importance of having a digital presence. Without further ado, a little bit about myself and Business Automation Pros. I'm a lifelong nerd. I used to get in trouble all the time by my grandma and grandpa for turning off the guiding light in the heat of the night just to watch reruns of MacGyver. Graduated from Florida State, attended the JMI Global Entrepreneurship School, I have about 7 years in the tech industry, everything from enterprise content management to business process automation, robotics process automation, things like web design and search engine optimization. I'm very involved here locally. I'm the newly elected vice president at the Smith Williams Service Center Foundation, and I'm also a member of the advisory committee for quality growth. I love our community. I love small businesses, and anything that I can do to help, I try to do my best. About Business Automation Pros, our mission is literally to help small to medium-sized businesses advance and grow using the latest technology by creating secure, robust, and streamlined digital paperless environments. We have over 20 years of experience collectively, and we just love to see small businesses win. That is a big trait that I look for when making partners, is making sure that we all have the same vision for helping small businesses. And some of the industries that we've had the opportunity to help have been car dealerships, financial and consumer services, medical providers, real estate, and legal professionals. Today's agenda. What in the COVID? So the things that we're going to be going over, what in the COVID, some consumer mindsets, how this whole thing affected your business. And we're going to take a look at a short timeline on how fast change happens and how we need to be prepared, how Business Automation Pros could help your business be prepared. And then we're going to take a look at an example from one of our latest clients, Nature Coast Women's Care and Family Medicine, as we automated their patient intake process in response to COVID-19. So what in the COVID? Nobody on this call was prepared for what we are facing today. I mean, literally life has changed from personal to professional in every aspect. And so one of the things that was reported was that 100,000 small businesses were permanently closed due to COVID-19. And that just broke my heart, because when you think about these people, these are your neighbors, these are the people whose kids attend the same school as yours, they go to the same church. This is literally family. And I'm sure everyone who owns a small business or is involved in a small business could understand the hurt that came from hearing this type of news. And so it made me wonder, would having the ability to switch to a remote office have helped avoid this for any of those businesses? Even if we could just save one, how would it have helped? So how fast was that change? Literally in March, the president declares a national emergency here in the United States. And by April, we're talking less than 30 days later, 95% of the population of the United States was under some sort of lockdown. Almost all 50 states to some degree had some type of stay-at-home order in place. And then May comes around, and the Washington Post reports that 100,000 small businesses will permanently close their doors. But in the light of that, in June, you see companies like Zoom and Instacart and even things like Uber Eats, they are just making record numbers. I think Instacart added over 300,000 new workers, which was a number that the economists could not even believe in new workers coming into it. So it wasn't bad for everybody, and we had to take a look at why. So COVID-19 not only affected those small businesses, but it also affected each and every one of us as consumers. And what did it do? It kind of shifted what was already considered the millennial mindset into the minds of the popular masses. So that means you, me, and everybody that we know kind of shifted to the way that millennials already think. And that's online transactions, mobile transactions shot up through the roof. It was already going on a trend that everything was facing, headed towards mobile. We've all heard about it. If you don't have a website, If you don't have some sort of digital presence, then you're going to struggle as a business. Well, COVID-19 shot that 10 steps ahead, 10 years ahead, and kind of took away the break that we had as businesses to kind of get ourselves prepared, and just kind of threw us in the field. And we have to take a look at what that actually means. And so the way that us millennials think is we think convenience. How easy is it for something to get done, and how easy is it for us to get a service or a product in our hands or get into a door. And so that is the mindset that changed with the COVID-19 epidemic, and priority and safety, safety and convenience became a priority. And so some examples I can give is my aunt was actually looking for a property inspector, and she's fairly young. So she was looking, and she had to go with the property inspectors that are homeowners association, decided to give her some recommendations. And the first person on the list did not have a website. They were 5-star rated on Google, but they didn't have a website. She didn't even bother. She went to the next person in the line. And that just goes to show that that is pretty much the standard nowadays. If you don't have a website or some type of digital presence, then you're pretty much counting yourself out. I also had a friend whose car broke down at Kroger, and hearing him explain to me how when his car broke down, he was able to go on his mobile device, his phone, go to his insurance company, file an insurance claim, and get a tow truck headed out that he could actually track like an Uber. So we've probably all used Uber. That tow truck had the same type of technology that Uber has, in that he was able to time the arrival of the tow truck so that he could also plan for an Uber to come and pick him up. Again, he had minimal to no human interaction at this point. He submitted the form to his insurance through a mobile device. They sent a tow truck out. He was able to track that tow truck's arrival, and also go on his mobile application and get an Uber to come pick him up. That's not it. This car dealership that he went to get his car fixed, he was able to, on the way, after the Uber picked him up, go on their website, submit a ticket to their service department. And once he arrived, they had an Uber there waiting, because they transformed as well, that they had a form on their website, and they use Uber instead of the courtesy drivers that we're all used to when we go to get our car fixed and we need a ride home. They usually have a guy driving a van or driving some sort of vehicle. But he was able to use a contactless payment and pay for his vehicle to get fixed. So all of these things happened, and there was minimal to no human interaction. That is due to technology and automation. And when I asked him about that, he was extremely happy with his insurance company. And that was one of those things where you'll pay for that convenience. Even if another insurance company came along that was cheaper, the fact that it's so easy to do business with his current insurance company, he wouldn't dare change. And the same with the car dealership that he got his car serviced at. He wouldn't change that dealership because of the convenience that they provided. So how does this affect your business? We've all heard remote offices, social distancing, and we've seen less foot traffic going through the doors. So that means, well, what is this remote office? What is social distancing? Why are we seeing less foot traffic? Well, the remote office is kind of self-explanatory. You have to be able to function as a business and provide your essential business processes to your customers and to your employees without being in a physical brick and mortar location. We all know what social distancing means. Stay 6 feet apart. That means your brick and mortar real estate is worth less, because you can fit less people in, because social distancing mandates does not allow a lobby full of people. And less foot traffic is literally what we said, less foot traffic. Can you continue business critical processes in the midst of a pandemic? That's a question that all of us should be asking ourselves. How do I run my business with all of this going on? Can your customers submit information? Can they request copies? Can they commit to contactless services and payment? are those options that your business has. Is your staff able to process those records or forms that your customers are submitting? Do they have access to the critical information? As Daryl stated earlier, lots of businesses were not prepared for this pandemic, in the simple fact of being able to have access to critical documentation to submit for funds of relief during the time of pandemic. The funds were there, but did you have access to the records? Could you find them? Did you have to dig through a filing cabinet? These are all things that we have to think about, because the pandemic changes the thoughts, changes the way that we must think and look at business. Can your business make critical business decisions at this time? What about your management? Is your management able to route documentation around, monitor the productivity of your team when they're working remotely? And can you run reports? Those reports are very important when you're making those business decisions in an executive leadership role. You have to make smart, informed decisions about your business in order to maintain compliance and to regulate your bottom line and revenue. This is all things that should be running through our minds as we go through this together. So how can we help small businesses thrive? My favorite part. Well, it kind of depends on your priorities. If your priorities are to increase your efficiency, increase your security, everybody wants to cut costs, to streamline and automate, or become in other words, become a remote office, then if anything on this board intrigues you or is for your business, then we are the company to help you. And I'll explain how. Well, going paperless, it's pretty simple. It doesn't have to be complex. You're dealing with some industry professionals who know how to consult you and help you understand how this type of software or technology applies to your business. We strategize to come up with a strategy that you're comfortable with, and then we implement and train your employees. It's pretty simple. The first step is we digitize your records. If you have back files, we have industry-leading partners that are professionals that have been doing back file scanning for years. That means taking those filing cabinets, scanning those records, and putting them in the cloud. Then we organize your content. What does that mean? That means having those records easily available, being able to type in a number or a birth date, a social security number, or any unique identifier and locate the records that you're looking for. And then we automate the process, and that is my favorite part. We allow technology to take the place of manual, repetitive, cumbersome processes, excuse me. And everybody wants to know how you save money. Well, it's pretty simple. That expensive real estate that you're spending your money on, that brick and mortar, we can eliminate storage costs. So imagine having a room full of filing cabinets that you could possibly, still meeting social distancing mandates, clear some of those filing cabinets out and add 2 essential workers there. We increase your document security. Everybody knows that it is super duper important to be able to have security in place when it comes to sensitive and confidential information, where our software boasts granular security that meets all state and federal regulation when it comes to security. We reduce labor costs. What does that mean? That means that while you're doing manual data entry, processing records, reviewing records, or just searching and retrieving those records, because we've all been in the attic searching through boxes or searching through when the auditors call to try and find those records, or when a disaster happens, a natural disaster such as the pandemic COVID-19, we are searching for those critical records that we need in order to get the funding to keep our doors open. And then we just increase efficiency. That's the simplest part. But by putting these things in place, we allow your business to literally see how much more efficient your workers, your staff, and employees can become. Nature Coast Women's Care and Family Medicine. So Nature Coast Women's Care and Family Medicine has a new, amazing, she is a very bright young lady. She came in as the new practice administrator, and she's very forward thinking and innovative. They had a process where everybody on this call has been in a situation where we went to the doctor's office and we've had to sit in the lobby for come 15 or 20 minutes early, sit in the lobby to fill out a patient intake form. They consulted business automation pros. We came in, we took a look at the processes that they had in place, and I literally was able to see them throwing money in the trash can. So with that process, how the process goes is you go into the office, you get a clipboard, you fill out your patient intake form. We've all done it before, and they get that patient intake form back from you, and they take the information that is on that form, type it into their electronic scheduling software, schedule it, and then they throw that paper in the trash. It was literally like watching money burn. So they consulted us, and then they invested into their business. And when they made that investment in their business, we are able to see how they were able to become more efficient. And I'm going to take you guys through a quick look at what that looks like. So here's Nature Coast's website. And we go to for patients and important forms. And this is what the form looked like. Actually, there were 6 forms that you had to fill out. And so we do the patient intake, and it's a standard PDF with their information on it. Well, what we were able to do is take those 6 forms, combine them into one to make everything easier. So their new patient intake form is one that is electronic, able to be submitted here online from a mobile device or on a computer. You can go in, fill out the information. And the best thing I love about these digital forms is it allows you to only have relevant information. So something such as this, where your primary insurance information goes. If you don't have insurance or you weren't currently insured, then there's no information here. But if you do, voila. You can also attach and upload images. So you can take a picture of your insurance card and submit it. And that is, with this being Department of Defense certified software, becomes a legal image, and you don't have to submit or make a copy. The form can be digitally signed. It's already dated. Can be digitally signed from a mobile device. You can either type in your initials or you can draw it. And my handwriting isn't the prettiest. We'll make a joke out of it. But this is just the first step. So what happens once that form is submitted? Once the form is submitted, the front office staff gets a notification. Everybody on the front office staff gets a notification. Hey, Jabari Allen just submitted a new patient intake. You need to schedule his appointment. This is where the human interaction comes in. The girls from the front desk, somebody decides who's going to take that. They assign that task to themselves, follow up, schedule the appointment. Me as the new patient, I receive a notification that my form was accepted, and I can download a copy of it, and it tells me when my appointment is. They're then able to use our off-the-shelf functionality in the integration to automatically click a button and submit that information into their electronic scheduling software without having to do that manual data entry. Once that is done, the process is over. Your appointment is scheduled. The new practice administrator is then able to run reports to find out how long it's taken them to process their patient intake. And we've been able to cut the time by more than 75% on the processing of their patient intake form. Now, instead of having to wait in the lobby, worried if you're going to catch COVID or worried about if you're going to give someone COVID, if you have it, then you can now submit this information prior to getting to the doctor's office and know confidently that your appointment has been scheduled and that you didn't forget your ID or you didn't forget your driver's license at home, making it really, really convenient for them. Not only that, but the information that Nature Coast is taking in or capturing from the new patients, they're able to run reports, whether that be demographic reports or efficiency reports, to see who their customer base is, who they're serving, and run reports so that they may be able to cross-reference and do marketing later on down the road. My favorite part, do we have any questions? I know that was pretty fast. I really just wanted to be able to give you guys a quick understanding of how important this is, how we can help, and an example of what we've done to help customers in the past and we are currently doing to help customers now.
Awesome. Thank you, Jabari, so much. What a great and timely presentation, especially with, COVID-19 really expediting that digital transformation. So thank you so much for that. We do have one question. It is, what about storage of items for distribution to your community members?
Storage of items for distribution to your community members. Could they give me an example of that?
Yes, that is from Dr. Youssef. If he's still on, I will allow him to speak. 1 second. All right, Dr. Youssef.
Yes.
Hi. Do you want to clarify that question for us?
Yes, my question was regarding those storage. For instance, if you have maybe 1,000 boxes to store, you definitely cannot be able to use the digital information that he was talking about. And if your house cannot contain it, definitely you still need to have a storage place whereby you can put these boxes to be able to distribute to the community. And remember, most of our community members are people who sometimes cannot travel. So some of us have to go door to door to be able to deliver the services for them. So that is the question that I was asking. How do we do that? How do we save costs on that?
So Dr. Youssef, if I'm correct, you're asking how do we distribute information to community members?
Not the information, the supplies that we have. For instance, I have about maybe 1 million or 2 million masks. That is about maybe 200 or 300 boxes that I cannot contain in my storage warehouse. So how do I maximize that space?
Is there a particular person or are there particular people that you're looking to serve with those masks?
Yes, I'm looking to serve individuals who cannot basically walk, or individuals who cannot get access to masks. And even when they call to get free masks, they send them one single mask, cloth mask. So, but mine is saying that there are 5 pieces in one, and even trying to get more masks for the children. So at this point in time, my storage is basically full. And yet I still haven't finished serving my community that I'm dealing with.
Okay, I think that was a great question. I think the best option for you, if you have an abundance of masks, is to partner with great organizations and like such as the Office of Economic Vitality, who is here to serve our communities, and other great organizations in our communities that can help you distribute those masks. Personally, I know that Daryl in the Office of Economic Vitality, it has basically a doors open policy for any small businesses who are local, who need masks. And then there are other organizations that I'm sure would love to be able to assist you with getting those masks in the right hands.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. And I think we have hands raised by Warren Cave. Warren, I will have granted you access to speak if you have a question.
I didn't have a question, but I'll ask a question because it's on my mind. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I do mobile detailing. I detail cars, and one of the things I've been trying to do is get to a point. I just built a website for my car wash. The pandemic has made things a little different. So, but how would I go about in the beginning stages of having a website? And just like you was mentioning, your auntie or someone went to someone and they didn't even have a website, so they just changed their mind. And I know I've probably missed a lot of business, but even with that, what's the best kind of, can you help me with trying to get data in a kind of format for a car wash where most of my money is made by car washing? Furthermore, what I'm trying to say is that I don't have, my supplies are different. So the cost would be okay, but how would I go to about, okay, I got it now. How would I go about getting the kind of data, which would be supply, demand, like the cost of chemicals, the cost of the car wash, how much I supposed to make, how much the business is supposed to make, when I pay my guys, what kind of uh, like data, like like a system you have on the computer that would be efficient enough for me not to continuously take a loss. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I have a great understanding of exactly what you're trying to say. And first of all, that was a great question. And second of all, I commend you for fighting through this COVID because it has been tough. I have friends that are in the same industry of mobile detailing, and I've had to give them some advice as well for data and for some of the business things that you're looking for. I would say, have you heard of the Small Business Development Center here in town, the Family Small Business
Yeah,
Development?
yeah. I've been dealing a lot with Stephen Conan,
Okay,
Stephen over there. Me and
okay,
Stephen been chatting back and forth, and yeah, and I've been in with Shanae Wilkes, who is up under with Daryl. So
okay.
I'm in the beginning stages, and I've been washing cars here in Tallahassee for 18 years, and I'm just really getting like business savvy. I mean, really, I've lost a lot, but I'm okay. I'm a vendor for Florida State. I do all the coaches' cars, athletic department. I'm a vendor for the state of Florida. And I'm trying to get some small contracts, but I'm gonna say this, and maybe it can help you more. I charge $30 for a car wash. It usually costs me $3 worth of chemicals at the most for a $30 or $50 car wash at the most. So it's mainly labor.
Okay.
But I pay the guys good, but at the same time, I had a bunch of guys that they don't have a 1099, so I'm paying their taxes, So I'm trying to get to a point now where I'm not trying to help everybody. I need to help Warren, and then as well as build an account for my business, because every time if I go to a bank with no credit, I can't even get nothing because they think I don't have anything. But I
Okay.
make money. It's just the way that it's been saved and dispersed. I need to get that in order. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Well, again, brother, I think you're on the right track here because the first thing you have to do is acknowledge what you're trying to do. And then secondly, seek out the resources. So the Family Small Business Development Center is a great tool. I've used them for my business. Shanae is awesome at Daryl's office. And I think you're on the right track. I would continue with using those same resources the best that you can. And if you want to follow up with me after this, I'm going to put my email up. If you want to follow me after this, I can help you take a look at your website to see, is it attractive, and just kind of go in depth a little more about your business, do a little bit of consulting for you. But I think you are on the right track in reaching out to resources like the Small Business Development Center and the Office of Economic Vitality.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Awesome. And we have another question from Pamela. She asked, you mentioned a partner agency that assists with scanning. Is that on-site or off-site?
So it depends on the regulations. So some records are, they have those regulations, HIPAA, where those records can't leave site. So that kind of depends on the type of or manner of records that we would be scanning, and how it kind of depends on the business, itself, the decisions that the leadership makes. I can assure you that we have done both. We've put people on site to come in and work part-time or full-time with your staff and be there if you have the space to do on-site scanning. And then we've done off-site scanning as well. So each situation kind of differs. It's because it's unique. Each situation is unique.
Gotcha. I think that is all the questions that we have for today. Thank you so much, Jabari, for joining us on today's webinar. We really appreciate it. Like I said before, very timely presentation up, and he has his information up here for anyone that wants to follow Business Automation Pros on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out their website. Be sure to get all this information here. And Daryl, if you're still on the line, did you have any ending remarks with us as well too?
Thank you very much for facilitating this, Kiana. Also, I would also ask everyone to please share this video from Facebook that others might see it. We'll also archive this video on the OEV YouTube channel, where we will also which will also make this video available to you, as well as previous webinars that we have done as a part of our MWSBE Academy series. Mr. Jabari Allen, thank you so very much for this invaluable information. Thank you for being a fantastic business here in our local economy. And thank you for what you do to help our small businesses to build capacity. For your services and your intellect, we are grateful.
Thank you very much, Daryl.
Yes, thank you, Jabari. And he also has his email and phone number for our participants. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to Jabari. He is a area expert when it comes to all things digital, as we can see here. So please feel free to reach out to him. But thank you all so much for tuning in today for our webinar. And we will go ahead and close out, and please have a great rest of your day. Thank you.